I moved into my first apartment when I was 22. It was this small, second-floor unit in a quiet neighborhood just outside the city. Nothing fancy, but it was mine, my own space. I remember feeling this huge sense of freedom when I signed the lease. The place had character, squeaky floorboards, old radiators, even a tiny attic above the hallway closet. The first few nights were uneventful, but by the first week, I started noticing weird little things. It started with the noises. Late at night, I'd hear soft creaks above my ceiling, like footsteps, but too light to be anything serious. I figured it was just the building settling, or maybe a raccoon on the roof. Then things escalated. One morning, I noticed my cereal box was open, like not torn or anything, but the top flap was folded differently than I remembered. A spoon was left in the sink, and I never leave dirty dishes out. I chalked it up to stress, or maybe I just forgot. I had just started a new job. Maybe I was sleep deprived. This went on for about 2 weeks. Little things out of place. Food missing. A glass of water I swore I hadn't poured. I even started setting small traps for myself, like placing a folded towel on the doorknob or balancing a book on the pantry shelf just to see if things moved. And they did. At that point, I started to think I was losing it. I even made an appointment with a therapist. But one night, everything changed. It was around 2:30 in the morning. I had just gotten up to use the bathroom and was walking down the hallway when I heard this click behind me. I turned around and looked up. The attic panel in the ceiling. It was slightly ajar, just an inch or two, and right as I stared at it, I saw it. A hand, thin, pale. It reached out slowly and pulled the panel closed. I froze. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I was going to throw up. I didn't scream. I didn't move. I just backed into the bathroom, locked the door, and called 911. The police showed up in less than 10 minutes. They asked if I was sure I saw something. I told them I knew what I saw. They brought in a ladder and pulled the attic door open. What they found still makes me feel sick. There was a man up there, mid-30s, dirty clothes. He didn't resist, didn't say a word, just stared at the officers as they pulled him out. He had been living up there for weeks. There was a sleeping bag, a small mattress, food wrappers. He even had a portable phone charger plugged into an outlet in the attic light fixture, but the worst part was the notebook. It was small and spiral bound, like the kind you'd use in middle school. The officers flipped through it while I sat shaking on my couch. It was filled with notes. About me, what time I left for work, what time I got back, what shows I watched, when I showered, when I slept, and the last page, the very last entry, it read, "She's starting to suspect." I was 17 at the time. My parents had gone on a short anniversary trip to the coast, and they left me home alone for the weekend. We lived in a safe, pretty normal neighborhood, one of those places where nothing ever really happens. So when they asked if I was okay to stay by myself, I didn't even hesitate. It was a Saturday morning, late. Around 11:30 a.m., I remember I was still in pajamas, scrolling through my phone when someone rang the doorbell. I wasn't expecting anyone, so I kind of froze. The door has one of those frosted glass panes, and I could make out a silhouette, a man. He was holding a package, wearing a navy blue hoodie and a ball cap pulled low. He knocked this time, twice, then said, "Package for Melissa. Need a signature." The thing is, my name's not Melissa, and there's no one by that name who lives on our street. I asked, through the door, who the package was for. He repeated it, sounded slightly annoyed. "Just need a quick signature. Come on, it's heavy." I told him he had the wrong house. He stood there, silent, for a long second. Then he knocked again, louder this time, more aggressive. "I'm not leaving this here, lady. Just open the damn door." That's when I got a weird feeling, like this was more than just a delivery gone wrong. I looked out the side window to get a better look at the truck, only there wasn't one. No UPS van, no FedEx truck, just a plain white windowless van parked across the street, engine running. No logos, nothing. That's when I panicked. I stepped away from the door and yelled out, "Dad, someone's at the door." I made it sound like my father was home, and just like that, the guy backed off, didn't say anything, didn't argue. He just turned and walked down the driveway. I waited, watched from the side window as he got into the passenger seat. That's when I noticed there was someone already in the driver's side. They didn't pull away right away, just sat there, watching the house. Finally, after maybe a full minute, they drove off. I reported it to the police. They took a statement and told me to keep my doors locked. That was pretty much it. But the next day, my neighbor came over. She said someone had knocked on her door late the previous night, claimed to be delivering a wedding invitation. She'd been creeped out too and didn't answer. We compared notes and called it in again. A few weeks later, there was a new story out of a town just 2 hours away. A teenage girl had gone missing. Last seen answering the door for a man delivering a package that wasn't hers. The police believe it was the same van, same fake delivery story, same kind of neighborhood. I think about it way too often, about what would have happened if I had opened the door, if I hadn't yelled out for my dad, if I just believed it was a mistake. They probably never would have found me. I was a sophomore in college when this happened. It was a small state school, and I had just moved into off-campus housing with 2 roommates. We had a 3-bedroom apartment in a complex mostly filled with other students. The area felt safe, a little run down, but quiet. My roommates both had jobs that kept them out late, while I usually had morning classes, so most nights I had the place to myself. After 10 p.m., I used to think that was nice. I don't anymore. It started with small things. At first, I thought I was just tired or stressed out from midterms. I'd wake up and notice drawers left slightly open, my phone unplugged, or closet doors I was pretty sure I had closed, slightly cracked. Nothing major, just enough to make me second-guess myself. Then, about 2 weeks in, my toothbrush was missing. I looked everywhere, eventually found it on top of the fridge. I asked my roommates if they were messing with me, but they swore they hadn't touched anything. One of them even joked that I might be sleepwalking. I didn't laugh. That night, I downloaded a free security camera app and set up an old phone in my bedroom to record while I slept, just to see if I was moving around in my sleep. Honestly, I was hoping I was. The first 2 nights, nothing, just me tossing and turning. But on the 3rd night, I saw something. Around 3:47 a.m., the bedroom door opened. Very slowly, a figure stepped inside, tall, thin, wearing dark clothes. He didn't say anything, didn't move quickly. He just stood there, watching me, for over 7 minutes. Then he walked over to my desk, picked something up, I couldn't tell what, and walked back out, closing the door behind him like nothing happened, like it was routine. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. I just sat there, staring at the screen, rewatching that footage over and over again. In the morning, I called the police. They came out, reviewed the footage, took fingerprints, the usual. But they couldn't find any sign of forced entry. Nothing was stolen, no prints. That night I stayed at a friend's place, but I left the camera running. When I checked the footage the next day, he came back, again at 3:47 a.m., but this time he walked around the room, touched the edge of my blanket, tilted his head like he was listening for something, then stared into the camera. He looked right into the lens and smiled. I moved out that week, transferred schools, filed a restraining order on a person I still don't know the name of. The footage was submitted to campus police, but they never figured out who he was. They said maybe it was someone who had access to the apartment before we moved in, maybe a maintenance worker, maybe another tenant with a copy of the key. But here's the part that still gets me. When the officers examined the footage frame by frame, they noticed something horrifying. On the first night I recorded, the night where nothing happened, you could actually see the closet door open slightly. 2 eyes just barely visible through the crack. He had been in the room the whole time. The final report said he was probably living in the crawl space between our ceiling and the unit above. He had been watching me sleep for at least a week.